Welcome to the Create with Katrina Julia show by Fit Life Creation, where we talk all the things on wellness, faith, marketing, business, and travel to create a life and business you love. I've been there, friend. I've walked from fear to faith, self-hate to love, corporate to calling, and bondage to freedom, along with transformation in every area of my life. I'm right here with you, walking along on my own path to creating. So tune in so that you learn how to create a life and business you love, hands-on. Let's create it. I am so excited and honored to partner with Spotify for podcasters. Ever since I connected with Spotify for podcasters, I feel like having options like video podcasts and Q&A and polls has helped me be creative on a whole new level. And if you didn't know, I want to thank all of you for listening, because last year we reached top 100 in marketing. And some of the ways this was able to happen is because of the ability to have distribution on platforms like iTunes, Google Podcasts, Overcast, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Castbox, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, Stitcher, and more. Basically everywhere and anywhere podcasts are in the world. I highly recommend you record your show on Spotify for podcasters. You can download the Spotify for Podcasters app or go to www.spotify.com/podcasters to get started. If you want to make a podcast, Spotify's got this incredible platform to help you make one super easily and distribute it everywhere and anywhere, and even earn money all in one place for free. Yes, for free with Spotify for podcasters. And here is how it works at a glance. You can record and edit your podcast and your shows right from your phone or your computer. So no matter what your setup is like, you get to start creating it today, or like I like to say, #create it. Then you get to distribute it to Spotify and everywhere and anywhere podcasts are heard in the world. Video podcasts are also available. Plus, make sure you check out the different features that I mentioned earlier to get your fans, your friends, and your besties engaging in your show, like the Q&A and the polls, to get people talking. And one tip, I've extended several of my podcasts out to the end of the year, because that way you get people a chance to connect and create it. So, share with me if you record your first and or your next show with Spotify for podcasters. I would love to know. Tag me at Katrina Julia Fit, at Fit Life Creation. And speaking of connecting and creating a conversation, also leave a review on my show with your new show, and I will make sure and shout out your show as well. And definitely check out all the ways that I spotlight and feature and connect with creators on my show and collaborations as well. So let's create it. Like Jay-Z said, allow me to reintroduce myself. That's one of the reels that I'm doing with this video and this content and this whole campaign. I was listening to Jay-Z and Beyonce, and that came to me, or I got 99 problems, but a business ain't one. Hope you like it. So anyways, let's get into my story on how I got on the Apprentice TV show as a consultant. I know. So much of my life, you guys, I know it's completely divinely led and guided and orchestrated, and I'm more and more keen on being and doing my part. So how the Apprentice opportunity came up is my parents had watched it for years, and I was in grad school at the time. And I was also taking accounting classes towards getting my CPA. I already had my MBA at the time. And then I was working as a operations manager at a credit union where I worked all through undergrad and grad school, and they paid for a good chunk of my school, and super, super grateful. So my parents had watched the show for years, okay? I had watched an episode here and there. I've really never been a TV show series person for the most part. I did kind of start dabbling in it a little bit during the pandemic, and I maybe watched like 3 or 4 shows the whole year. And now I'm very mindful of what I pick because I know how it can suck up your time. And I am very mindful of, is it aligned? Is it going to teach me something? Is it going to pour into me? Okay. So I'd watched a couple episodes of The Apprentice then, and my parents would tell me for years that you need to apply for the show. You would be amazing. They used to tell me stuff like you would kick Amarosa's ass, like all these different things, right? Well, I took for granted that in many ways, my parents are awesome. They're still human, but in many ways they are awesome. And I took for granted they were speaking such life into me, and, just took it for granted and didn't really take heed to it, right? Although it interested me and it piqued my interest. And interesting enough, one day when I was walking into my accounting class at University of Houston, some students that I didn't even know. So just to give you a little bit of backstory, we had formed this little like accounting group coalition, and it was literally like the United Nations, you guys. I'm not exaggerating. It was me, which if you don't know my background, I'm half Polish, half Bulgarian. It was Sandeep, she's from India. It was Jeffrey, he's Chinese. Then it was Audrey, she's Caucasian. And then I'm missing a couple people, but it was literally like the UN coalition, okay? And we would meet up for like wine tastings or hanging out, like all this fun stuff, okay? And so there was a big group of people I knew that I sat in the back with. So I always sat in the back. And I don't know why, because sometimes I sat in front of classes, but in that particular class, I sat in the back. And, would still raise my hand, would still ask questions, answer questions, would still engage. So it wasn't that I was in the back but disengaged. Like, no, I was engaged in class, in the curriculum. It was actually a government accounting class, which was super interesting. That's how we met. And at the time, that was the only class that fit my schedule to get like all the credits I needed for the CPA, okay? So, but I didn't know a lot of the students that sat up front. And I was walking in class one day, and they started telling me, they said, Apprentice is on campus today, and you should totally go try out. And this light bulb or this antenna went off in my brain, and I was like, or like some of you might know the Scooby-Doo commercial or Scooby-Doo cartoon, right? I was like, But I didn't say ruh-roh. I said, because it piqued my interest, right? And I said, why do you say that? And they said, well, you always ask amazing questions. Your presentations are so great. You're so engaging. And, some of the stories you bring up or some of the examples, like we just feel like you'll be great. And it was like 4 or 5 of them. So they had clearly talked about this, or it was so interesting. So I said, And so I started Googling and looking up stuff online, like during class. I emailed, or I think I texted my boss because I was supposed to be the manager the next day. And I emailed him to see if maybe, because The Apprentice, the producers, NBC, Mark Burnett Productions, was going to be on campus again the next day. So I emailed him to see if maybe he could fill in for me. But by the time I did it, it was like 9 o'clock at night. And I knew he always got up at like 4. So I figured like he was asleep. He didn't answer. So then, I'm figuring out other alternatives, and I'm driving home, and my mom and I are on the phone. My mom's a rock star, you guys, in so many ways. Like I could never, like my mom and my dad, but like so many moments with my mom, I'm just like, I'm blessed with an angel. Like I'm so blessed with an angel. She's like telling me as I'm driving, because of course I'm not going to Google and look at stuff as I'm driving. So she's pulling it up. She's letting me know, you can submit a videotape, you can do this, you can do that, right? So I figured it out, filmed like the 7-minute clip, It was like a 7-ish minute clip on why I should be the next apprentice. I basically said, things and highlights about, my work, like who I am, my adventurous spirit, my work at the credit union, the results I've gotten being a scuba diver, traveler, all these like fun different things, right? Like very wide range, that I'm multicultural, that I speak 4 languages, etc. And sent it out, leap of faith. A couple weeks go by and I get an email from the production team and that they want to talk to me. And I'm like, oh my God, like what's happening? And I remember I was sitting in my brother's room and calling one of the executive producers of Mark Burnett Productions. And, they start telling me right away, you beat out 1.2 million applicants, you're in the final 50, and we are considering you to be on the show on season 4. And I'm like, oh my God, this is happening. Whatever this is happening. I'm here for it. I'm open to it. Okay. And they said, the next thing we need you to do is we're going to call you and you need to have, video, all the things on. It's going to be an impromptu. We're not going to tell you any of the questions in advance and we're going to go from there. So I get my makeup done. I get my hair done, all the things, get set up, have the interview, and go smashingly well, wait to hear. A couple weeks go by, I get a phone call at the credit union as I'm working. And the producer says, this is so-and-so, the executive producer from Mark Burnett Productions, NBC, do you want the good news or the bad news first? And I said, and when I picked up the phone, you guys, I was screaming. I was like, oh my God, it's the apprentice, oh my God. The first time that I talked to them, okay? In the middle of Kroger at the credit union, all the things, did not care. I meant to say that. I think I got the phone calls. No. It's right. I had it right. So that was the second phone call. I was gonna say, I thought I got it reversed, but no, the second one happened at the credit union. So then I ran outside and I tell like my boss and my coworker, I'm running outside. I'm talking to the apprentice. Like, I don't care. Like, I care about you, but I don't care about you right now. Right. So I go outside and he says, do you want the bad news or the good news first? And I said, the fact that you're calling me tells me this is all good news. Because in my mind, it was like, well, if I was rejected, you wouldn't even be calling me, right? And he says, you're no longer being selected or considered for the show, but we really want you to work as a consultant on the show. And, and basically that led to him explaining what that meant, basically on preseason, advising the producers, working in and around Trump Tower in New York City and all the things. And it was a paid position, but then we had to find housing, whereas, and I say we, because it was like 10 to 15 of us. And then versus the contestants ended up getting housing, but they weren't paid. So that just gives you the differences, right? So you guys, it literally, I was there for 5+ weeks. It literally was like business boot camp or an MBA on steroids, okay? We basically A/B tested in the terms of modern marketing, right? But in real life, tested different companies, different tasks as pre-contestants and gave feedback and had cameras following us around all around New York City. We worked with incredible global brands. I believe I'm already out the NDA, but if I am not, I'm out the NDA. Non-disclosure agreement for those of you that don't know, but just to be extra safe, and like you would know all these brands. So we worked with a top global fitness brand. We worked with a top global nutrition brand. We worked with a top global music brand. We worked with a top global retail brand. We worked with venues and places in and around New York City. And one of my favorite projects, one of them where I was the project manager, we worked with an up and coming artist. We designed her press kit. She worked with the stylist for Mariah Carey. She wrote a new song. We were in music studios designing. This is all in less than 48 hours, you guys. She was writing a song. She produced that song. It aired live on national radio with callers calling in versus another songwriter that was on the other team, right? And we presented to the CEO and COO of this huge media global brand, okay? Less than 48 hours, running on pure, unadulterated adrenaline. Like, I think I literally ended up leaving some of the studios at 3 a.m. just in time to get like a 2-hour nap, then start getting ready for my, to pick up the press kit and stuff, the printed press kit from FedEx, and then go deliver the presentation with my other project manager that we decided a man and a woman would present. And the CEO and COO of this major global media brand said to the producers and executive producers and team of The Apprentice and Mark Burnett Productions and NBC, they said, that was the best presentation that we've ever seen. And they said, it's better than even Bruce Springsteen's manager. Mic drop. That was one of the best compliments I've ever gotten. So I ended up being and working on the show on similar type projects for about 5 to 6 weeks. They did offer me a slot to work on Martha Stewart afterwards. And I thought about it, but honestly, there was many, and this was even like, there was many things I didn't resonate with there. And then my brother was graduating from his undergraduate degree in Austria. And for me, it was more important for me to go. And it was one of those where I believe like what's for me is for me. And I knew if that path was supposed to continue in any way, shape, or form at that moment, it would, whether it was after the graduation or whatever the case was. So comment down below on what you're surprised about, on how I ended up on NBC The Apprentice and working as a consultant, and just anything you want to share or any questions you have. And obviously a lot of this, you guys, has to do with marketing and being yourself and putting yourself out there. And definitely check out my links down below for all the resources that I share to create it, a life and business you love with freedom. And remember, create, transform, and inspire, because you are born to. Are you ready to be challenged to a whole new level to create it? Well, my friends, I am launching the Create It 3-Day Challenge series. Every single month, there will be a brand new free 3-day challenge to jumpstart whatever area of life that I am feeling led to focus on that month to help you create it. So we are jumpstarting the first 3-day challenge with marketing like a boss. This is for you if you want to know the good, the bad, the ugly of your marketing, and you want to get to know the 3 platforms to help you find over 500K every single day in opportunities, and 10xing your social and seeing how I stream live on up to over 20 plus platforms at the same time. So you can see how not only am I helping you create it, but I'm showing you firsthand of what it could look like for you to market like a boss, blowing up your brain. And in this series, you can dive in with several different bonuses and different things. And then if you've been tuning in on the show, my friends, I have some amazing episodes coming up, like how Google paid me for content I already created, how I beat out over 1 million people to almost be on NBC Apprentice, but work on the show and get paid, and work personally with Mark Burnett Productions and NBC. And no, I did not meet the Donald. So click the link in the show notes and scroll down to the second link where the 3-day challenge is there with marketing like a boss. Depending on when you listen, there may be a different 3-day challenge or other things on the link in bio. So let's stop waiting and let's create it. like a boss. All the chats on faith, wellness, money, marketing, business, and travel, so you create a life and business already. Head on over to the blog, the podcast, and the freebies to jumpstart your transformation. If you're ready to dive into the online courses, the live events, or the retreat, and if you want to create with our community on an even deeper level, definitely check out our internships, our influencer collaborations, management, and brand engagement. Let's create it.